Finally, some very good Nvidia news. Today was absolutely the largest GPU drop or collection in a single place that I have either heard of or seen in my entire life. Pretty insane. Is this going to be a rush before Christmas? Is it going to come to a location or place near you? Let's talk about what happened. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to smash that like button and subscribe. We talk a lot about PC hardware, and of course that's going to include GPUs, which have been very popular due to their really scarcity, high prices, great performance in some cases, but mostly due to the fact that people have had a hard time getting them, so they want to know how to get it. So if you like videos like that, remember to subscribe. Now, let's talk about exactly what I'm talking about today. No need to sugarcoat it. It was absolutely the largest collection of GPUs for sale that I've really ever seen in a particular place, even if it be it online or in a particular store. Now, this drop actually happened at a micro center, and I know some of you are going to say, oh, but we don't live near a micro center, or you're overseas where they don't even have them. They only have them in a few select places throughout the United States, and of course, it's not like Best Buy. They have more Best Buys throughout the US. If you guys have seen some of my recent videos, I've also given you tips on how to find a graphics card through Best Buy, as a lot more people do have them. And of course, in the past, I've mentioned various online places like the EVGA Q when that was still open, which is closed now. Places like Newegg before it became a little bit saturated with the shuffle. And of course, the local stores themselves like Micro Center or Best Buy. Specifically, Best Buy recently had that little app trick that I mentioned where a lot of my viewers were able to get GPUs because of the videos that I made. Some people may say, why would you share that information where people are now more competitive to get GPUs? Well, at the end of the day, the more people that know where to find GPUs at MSRP prices, or at least the third-party MSRP prices, that's going to be even better. So they're not taken advantage of by a scalper or anything like that. Typically, the only people that will know about this type of information, aside from the hardcore enthusiasts like myself who search for GPUs and want to pay a good price, it'll be the scalpers themselves. So they want to keep that information to themselves. Nothing wrong if you're reselling because of the way that the market is, but in my opinion, I think everybody should at least have a fair chance and be knowledgeable about where to get a GPU. So that's why I'm making this video today. So check your local sources. They may still be GPUs available. So today, pretty extraordinary the amount of GPUs that I saw. Even if you check online on their website, generally most of the Micro Center stores recently won't even list the quantity of certain GPUs just because they go so quickly. They don't even really have to bother with listing them online. But in this particular case, as you can even see online, as well as from reports of people that have gone to the store themselves, you can see they have an insane quantity of a lot of GPUs. Some of them they still don't have listed, like the really high end and a little bit harder to get ones. Some of the 3090s, they even had an Asus Strix before, EVGA GPUs. They've had 3070 Ti's. Other ones like the 3060 Ti, they have listed, and in some cases I saw more than 25 GPUs of a particular model listed. That's pretty much insane. I've never seen that for almost a few years now, ever since the previous generation. I've never seen them list that many RTX 3000 GPUs. Occasionally they will list a couple, maybe 3 or 4 is considered a pretty big drop in my opinion, of even something like an RTX 3060 or of like a 3060 Ti or something like that. But to have 10, 15, 20, 30, that's certainly pretty insane. So of course, obviously, probably the reason that they got such a significant and big shipment is in exactly 2 weeks, we're going to have Christmas. And we know that this is a time that people want to buy GPUs even more than other times of the year. Perhaps they're building their computer for the end of the year or giving it as a gift to somebody else. So definitely, historically, it's a peak shopping season for any type of consumer goods, but you put in the GPU shortage and you tie it together with everything that's going on, it makes it even more important. So obviously they got a massive shipment in, and massive by the standards that we've had the last year. This is what I would consider a massive shipment. Now, we're never really privy to the information as to exactly how many GPUs a place will have in stock. When you go to like EVGA or Newegg or Amazon, in a store, you can often physically see them on the shelves, or maybe sometimes they have them in the back. Often, like this, they will list a couple, but to list this many, like I said before, very, very impressive. And it shows you that at least there's a really big push for the end of this year to get some GPUs out there in the hands of gamers. Because after all, let's talk about some of the policies that Micro Center has. They generally will limit the purchase of a GPU to about 30 days per person. So no bots here or any type of scandalous behavior, or at least it's limited in many respects because you're going to have that 30-day limit and they'll check your ID or something like that. So in general, this is going to be a better method. Of course, you're not going to stop everyone, but in general, this is a pretty good method to ensure that at least it's pretty fair for people to get a GPU. Often the biggest complaints I hear about, like these online Best Buy drops and other drops that happen online, is that you don't even feel like you get a chance. Like you try to add to cart, it never shows up, it shows out of stock, and then you're just there sitting assuming that perhaps a bot took it, or people with more resources, or some other a mischievous way that they acquire these GPUs. But at least a physical store, you go in, they have it, and you haven't bought one in about a month, and you can actually get it. So I do feel bad for people that don't have the Micro Center stores near them. I know I bring them up a lot on the channel, just because it's a great place to shop for computer hardware. It's pretty much like the Disneyland of computer hardware, and in some cases it does serve as like a bellwether for what's going on in the market. So this is my next point. Are you going to find a GPU, let's say before the end of the year, before the holidays are over, before Christmas? Does this increase your chance or indicate something else in the market? That's sometimes how I use Micro Center, even if you live in another country or somewhere else. It doesn't specifically correlate to anything, but if they're getting a big shipment, there's a good chance that other companies, other vendors are also getting big shipments in anticipation of the end of the year and of Christmas. So this can certainly indicate that if you have a local store in your country, or perhaps even the local Best Buys, they may have a few more drops, or they may have more GPUs available, because after all, these GPUs don't just appear out of thin air. They obviously came directly from the third-party AIB and Nvidia partners, so they're not just going to be sending them over to this one particular store. There are going to be other stores, other locations. At least it shows a more substantial quantity going to one location. And if one store that I saw is getting this many, that means that other locations are likely to get more as well. Other vendors that are online, more accessible to more people in North America, including the US and Canada, Europe, places like that. More vendors across the entire world. If one store gets that many, maybe there's a little bit more supply at the end of the year. Maybe they were kind of holding it back at least until that Christmas rush. That would make sense, because or else, instead of saying that massive amount of stock, like those 25 plus RTX 3060s to one store, they would have split it up, maybe like they do in the past, send 3 or 4 or 5 to different stores. I remember when the RTX 3080 first launched, even at a place like Micro Center, the first day they got very, very little of the GPU, sometimes as little as like 10 to 15 copies of the GPU, which is extremely little. Even when you're talking about a more mainstream GPU like the 3070 or something like that, they would get maybe 100 to 150 on launch day. So to see this many GPUs on a not typical launch day, this is really what we can consider just a regular restocking event, even though it's a big restocking, without having sort of a new release tied to it. So definitely good news. I mean, a lot more people are going to be able to get GPUs today and the next few days than probably have been able to in a very long time. And not only that, at least with this particular store, that they have their policy of 30 days for one person, at least more people, more varied people will get the GPUs, instead of what people usually think, that some of the GPU companies will just sell like a pallet of GPUs to crypto miners or to scalpers or something like that. Who knows exactly what goes on with those type of deals, if they're even exist to the amount and quantity that a lot of people think. Sometimes people just, assume certain things. Who knows what's going on there? But at least here, we know that individuals will get GPUs, and there you can build your own system. You have, various other components you can buy, like motherboards and processors. So in general, a great place to get your stuff to build a PC. That's just because I personally go there. I've never been sponsored by them or paid or done any ads for Micro Center or anything like that. I just personally love going there. It's my toy store. It's amazing. Anybody who's been there can really vouch how good it is, even regardless of what GPUs they have in stock. When I personally go there, I'll even buy, zip ties or buy screws for other components, or you can buy fans. They just have basically everything that you would want to build a computer. Different than like Amazon or Newegg, which also, of course, is expansive, will have even more of an option. The biggest difference is you're there in person and seeing the parts in person. They'll have displays of like water cooling. It's an entirely different experience. It's like visiting Disneyland on your computer or visiting Disneyland in person. It's just everything is there. Your senses are a lot more alert to the awesomeness that's going around. You see all the, the actual boxes. Sometimes they have, computers built with RGB and water cooling. So very exciting place to be, and I'm really happy to see that many GPUs, popped today, because that means a lot more people, at least until the end of the year, are going to get GPUs than before. And if you guys have been frequent watchers of the channel, and remember to subscribe if you are, you've seen that getting people to be able to get GPUs not only at MSRP, but in an easy manner, like going to an actual store. That's one of the things I really love doing the most. That's why I've done so many videos on the drops on Best Buy, and different tactics people can use to rightfully get a GPU, meaning walk into a store, get it at MSRP without having to go through a scalper or anything like that. So it does bring me a lot of joy to see actual GPUs being released. And if you like PC gaming and PC hardware in general, that's not really a far-fetched statement, just because the GPU is really an intrinsic part of the build. It's going to be the most important part in many cases. It's what really drives the performance of your system. That and the CPU can also be fairly exciting, but no doubt that the GPU is definitely the star of the show, especially with the shortage that's gone on. Definitely more exciting when you see it in stock. It's almost like seeing a mirage or a very special event happen. So very cool, and I really do hope to see this other places across the country and even across the world during the next few days and the next several weeks before Christmas. I'll definitely keep you guys updated. I'm going to keep an eye out if I see it in other locations and other places. Remember to follow me on social media too. I'll try to point it out as much as I can. And of course, remember to subscribe and smash that like button so these videos pop up in your recommendation. I'm always trying to find new ways of where GPUs may be available, and I share it with you guys pretty much instantly as soon as I hear about it. Like I heard about this one today, I just had to hop on, tell you guys about it. Maybe some people can even take advantage, or maybe they'll get some people looking, even if they don't have a Micro Center. Maybe they'll check Newegg or check different places, and they may actually, get pretty lucky before Christmas. I did hear other reports of online people getting lucky with other hard to get components like DDR5 VRAM, as well as some GPUs from things like the Newegg Shuffle. So do remember to check out all of those things. Check out some of my videos before. I do plan to do a buying guide for GPUs before Christmas, including things like this, where you have the best chance of getting it. It's not always 100% guaranteed because of the shortages, but it does increase your chance, and at least you know where to look, and you're ready for the opportunity when one does come around. Hope you enjoyed the video. Good luck out there. Let me know if you're able to get a GPU during the next several days. I know a lot of you have posted back on my previous videos, especially on the Best Buy drops, that you were able to get a GPU because of my videos. So very happy to hear that. Let me know any updates you guys have as well, and I'll see you guys on the next video.